Hello, grizzly bears. Today we're going to have a continuation of the reading of the complete works of Emily Dickinson. Sorry, I'm just getting the pinned message set up there. Alrighty, so I should have some time today to make good progress, assuming my voice holds out. I also, finally, my new microphone capsules have made it through customs and are at my local post office and will be delivered tomorrow. And with those, I will make a 3DO style microphone with silicone ears and everything. It should be kind of fun to play around with. Though I think, honestly, for speaking, these microphones that I have right now might be hard to beat. I guess we'll see. It's possible if I got a new audio interface that I could even use both types of microphone at the same time. Use the ears for triggers and these for talking. Anyway, Emily Dickinson. We're about a third of the way through Emily Dickinson's poems. And the last poem we read in the last stream was called Returning, and I was surprised by that poem. I liked it a lot. I think I will return to that poem, but not right now. Right now, we will press forward with the next poem, which is called Prayer. Prayer is the little implement through which men reach where presence is denied them. They fling their speech by means of it in God's ear. If then he hear, this sums the apparatus comprised in prayer. My model is once again somewhat misaligned. I don't know why that keeps happening. Excuse me while I give you all a glance behind the curtain. How about that? That might be better. Okay. The next poem is Untitled. I know that he exists somewhere in silence. He has hid his rare life from our gross eyes. 'Tis an instant's play, 'tis a fond ambush, just to make bliss earn her own surprise. But should the play prove piercing earnest, should the glee glaze in death's stiff stare, would not the fun look too expensive? Would not the jest have crawled too far? Next is called Melodies Unheard. Musicians wrestle everywhere. All day among the crowded air I hear the silver strife. And waking long before the dawn, such transport breaks upon the town. I think it that new life. It is not bird, it has no nest, nor band in brass and scarlet dressed, nor tambourine nor man. It is not a hymn from pulpit read. The morning stars the treble led on time's first afternoon. Some say it is the spheres at play. Some say that bright majority of vanished dames and men. Some think it service in the place where we with late celestial face please God shall ascertain. The next poem is called Back. Just lost when I was saved, just felt the world go by, just girt me for the onset with eternity, when breath blew back and on the other side I heard recede the disappointed tide. Therefore, as one returned, I feel odd secrets of the line to tell. Some sailor skirting foreign shores, some pale reporter from the awful doors before the seal. Next time to stay, next time the things to see, by ear unheard, unscrutinized by eye, next time to tarry while the ages steal, slow tramp the centuries, and the cycles wheel. Okay, that was the last poem in the section of poems that was titled Life, on the poems on the theme of life. And now we begin a section on the theme of love. And we begin with a poem called Choice. Of all the souls that stand create, I have elected one. When sense from spirit flies away and subterfuge is done, when that which is and that which was apart intrinsic stand, and this brief tragedy of flesh is shifted like a sand, when figures show their royal front and mists are carved away. Behold the atom I preferred to all the lists of clay. The next poem is untitled. I have no life but this, to lead it here, nor any death but less dispelled from there, nor tie to earths to come, nor action new, except through this extent, the realm of you. Your riches taught me poverty, myself a millionaire, in little wealths as girls could boast, till broad as Buenos Aires. You drifted your dominions a different Peru, and I esteemed all poverty for life's estate with you. Of mines I little know myself, but just the names of gems, the colors of the commonest and scarce of diadems. So much that, did I meet the queen, her glory I should know. But this must be a different wealth, to miss it beggars so. I'm sure 'tis India all day to those who look on you, without a stint, without a blame, might I but be the Jew. I'm sure it is Golconda beyond my power to redeem, to have a smile for mine each day, how better than a gem. At least it solaces to know that there exists a gold, although I prove it just in time, its distance to behold. It's far, far treasure to surmise and estimate the pearl that slipped my simple fingers through while just a girl at school. The next poem is called The Contract. I gave myself to him and took himself for pay. The solemn contract of a life was ratified this way. The wealth might disappoint, myself a poorer prove than this great purchaser suspect, the daily own of love. Depreciate the vision, but till the merchant buy, still fable in the isles of spice, the subtle cargoes lie. At least 'tis mutual risk, some found it mutual gain. Sweet debt of life each night to owe, insolvent every noon. An interesting take on marriage from Emily Dickinson. That was The Contract. Next up we have The Letter. Going to him, happy letter, tell him the page I didn't write. Tell him I only said the syntax and left the verb and the pronoun out. Tell him just how the fingers hurried, Then how they waited, slow, slow, slow. And then you wished you had eyes in your pages, so you could see what moved them so. Tell him it wasn't a practiced writer. You guessed from the way the sentence toiled. You could hear the bodice tug behind you, as if it held but the might of a child. You almost pitied it, it worked so. Tell him, no, you may quibble there, for it would split his heart to know it. And then you and I were silenter. Tell him night finished before we finished, and the old clock kept neighing day. And you got sleepy and begged to be ended. What could it hinder so to say? Tell him just how she sealed you, cautious. But if he ask where you are hid, until tomorrow, happy letter, gesture, coquette, and shake your head. That poem is quite meta. The way I read a letter's this. 'Tis first I lock the door, and push it with my fingers next, for transport it be sure. And then I go the furthest off to counteract a knock, then draw my little letter forth and softly pick its lock. Then, glancing narrow at the wall and narrow at the floor, for firm conviction of a mouse not exercised before, peruse how infinite I am to no one that you know, and sigh for lack of heaven, but not the heaven the creeds bestow. Wild nights, were I with thee. Wild nights should be our luxury. Futile the winds to a heart in port, done with the compass, done with the chart. Rowing in Eden, the sea, might I but moor tonight in thee. Ooh, that's a little racy, Emily. That poem was untitled. Next up we have At Home. The night was wide and furnished scant with but a single star, that often as a cloud it met, blew out itself for fear. The wind pursued the little bush and drove away the leaves. November left then clambered up and fretted in the eaves. No squirrel went abroad a dog's belated feet. Like intermittent plush we've heard adown the empty street. To feel if blinds be fast, and closer to the fire, her little rocking chair to draw and shiver for the poor. The housewife's gentle task, How pleasanter, said she, unto the sofa opposite. The sleet then may know thee. The next poem is called Possession. Did the harebell lose her girdle to the lover bee? Would the bee the harebell hallow much as formerly? Did the paradise persuaded yield her mote of pearl? Would the Eden be an Eden, or the earl an earl? Deep Thoughts by Emily Dickinson. The next poem is untitled. A charm invests a face imperfectly beheld. The lady dare not lift her veil for fear it be dispelled, but peers beyond her mesh and wishes and denies, lest interview annul a want that image satisfies. I like that one. A little lesson in seduction from Emily Dickinson. The next poem is called The Lovers. The rose did caper on her cheek, her bodice rose and fell. Her pretty speech, like drunken men, did stagger pitiful. Her fingers fumbled at her work, her needle would not go. What ailed so smart a little maid, it puzzled me to know. Till opposite I spied a cheek that bore another rose, just opposite another speech that like the drunkard goes. A vest that like the bodice danced to the immortal tune, till those two troubled little clocks ticked softly into one. That's very sweet, that poem. I like it. In lands I never saw, they say, immortal Alps look down, whose bonnets touch the firmament, whose sandals touch the town, meek at whose everlasting feet a myriad daisies play. Which, sir, are you, and which am I, upon an August day? The moon is distant from the sea. And yet with amber hand she leads him, docile as a boy, along appointed sands. He never misses a degree, obedient to her eye. He comes just so far toward the town, just so far goes away. O Signor, thine the amber hand, and mine the distant sea, obedient to the last command thine eyes impose on me. He put the belt around my life. I heard the buckle snap and turned away imperial, my lifetime folding up. Deliberate as a duke would do a kingdom's title deed, henceforth a dedicated sort, a member of the cloud. Yet not too far to come at all. Not too far to come at call, and do the little toils that make the circuit of the rest, and deal occasional smiles to lives that stoop to notice mine and kindly ask it in. Whose invitation knew you not, for whom I must decline? I find it so relaxing, quietly reading these poems to my microphones in my virtual grassy field with the impossible moon behind the digital tree, casting a digital shadow. I'm glad I discovered this. Next up we have The Lost Jewel. I held a jewel in my fingers and went to sleep. The day was warm and winds were prosy. I said, "It twill keep." I awoke and chid my honest fingers. The gem was gone, and now an amethyst remembrance is all I own. Well, okay then. What if I say I shall not wait? What if I burst the fleshly gate and pass escaped to thee? What if I file this mortal off? See where it hurt me, that's enough, and wade in liberty. They cannot take us anymore. Dungeons may call and guns implore, unmeaning now to me, as laughter was an hour ago, or laces or a traveling show, or who died yesterday. That concludes the section of love poems. And now we begin a new section on nature. Give me a moment before we start. I need to hydrate and clear my throat. Sorry, my avatar sort of has spasms and seizures when I hydrate and clear my throat. It's kind of funny to watch. Okay, so now we start this section of poems on the theme of nature. And first up, we have a poem simply called Mother Nature. Nature, the gentlest mother, impatient of no child, the feeblest or the waywardest, her admonition mild. In forest and the hill by travelers heard, restraining rampant squirrel or too impetuous bird. How fair her conversation a summer afternoon, her household, her assembly, and when the sun goes down, her voice among the aisles incites the timid prayer of the minutest cricket, the most unworthy flower. When all the children sleep, she turns as long away as will suffice to light her lamps. Then, bending from the sky with infinite affection and infiniter care, her golden finger on her lip wills silence everywhere. I liked that poem, although I don't think it's actually a very accurate portrayal of Mother Nature. Mother Nature isn't particularly gentle. It's sort of a romanticized version of nature. And take it from me, I am a bear. I am part of Mother Nature's not so gentle nature, and also, of course, subject to it. As are we all, though we try to pretend otherwise. The next poem is called Out of the Morning. Excuse me, I think I need to hydrate yet again. Something is not quite right with my throat, and don't I owe you, my viewers, my flawless, sonorous voice for these poems. So let me see if I can restore that. right. I think that's as good as I'm going to get. The next poem is untitled. At 3:30, a single bird unto a silent sky propounded but a single term of cautious melody. At 4:30, experiment had subjected test, and lo, her silver principle supplanted all the rest. At 7:30, element nor implement was seen, and place was where the presence was, circumference between. The next poem is called Day's Parlor. The day came slow till 5 o'clock, then sprang before the hills like hindered rubies o'er the light, a sudden musket spills. The purple could not keep the east, the sunrise shook from fold, like breaths of topaz packed night, the lady just unrolled. The happy winds their timbrels took, the birds in docile rows arranged themselves around their prince. The wind is prince of those. The orchard sparkled like a Jew, how mighty 'twas to say, a guest in this stupendous place, the parlor of the day. I wonder if that poem is a little bit anti-Semitic. I suppose I wouldn't be surprised, given when Emily Dickinson lived. The next poem is called The Sun's Wooing. The sun just touched the morning happy thing, supposed that he had come to dwell, and life would be all spring. She felt herself supremer, a raised, ethereal thing. Henceforth for her what holiday? Meanwhile her wheeling king trailed slow along the orchards, his haughty, spangled hems, leaving a new necessity, the want of diadems. The morning fluttered, staggered, felt feebly for her crown, her unanointed forehead, henceforth her only one. Next is The Robin. The robin is the one that interrupts the morn with hurried few express reports when March is scarcely on. The robin is the one that overflows the noon with her cherubic quantity, an April but begun. The robin is the one that speechless from her nest submits that home and certainty and sanctity are best. The butterfly's day. From cocoon forth a butterfly, as lady from her door emerged a summer afternoon, repairing everywhere, without design that I could trace, except to stray abroad on miscellaneous enterprise the clovers understood. Her pretty parasol was seen contracting in a field where men made hay, then struggling hard with an opposing cloud, where parties, phantom as herself, to nowhere seemed to go, in purposeless circumference, as 'twere a tropic show. And notwithstanding bee that worked and flower that zealous blew, this audience of idleness disdained them from the sky, till sundown crept a steady tide, and men that made the hay, and afternoon and butterfly extinguished in its sea. Next up we have the bluebird. I seem unable to remove this small frog from my throat. I'm not sure when it crawled in there. It's possible that I ate it. I have a very small bare brain, so I can't always remember what I ate. I don't remember eating a frog, though, but it seems to have gotten stuck in my throat anyway, somehow or another. I suppose if my voice is a little extra raspy today, it's kind of still okay. So I'll keep going. I think I want to hit the 1 hour mark at least. So the next poem is called The Bluebird. Before you thought of spring, except as a surmise, you see, God bless his suddenness, a fellow in the skies, of independent hues, a little weather-worn, inspiriting habiliments of indigo and brown, with specimens of song as if for you to choose, discretion in the interval. With gay delays he goes to some superior tree without a single leaf, and shouts for joy to nobody but his seraphic self. I like poems like that. Poems that simply describe rather than try to have some meaning or insight. They simply notice, observe, and put some clever or relaxing or maybe inspiring spin on it, or just a beautiful spin. Like that poem about the bluebird. Next we have April. An altered look about the hills, a Tyrian light the village fills, a wider sunrise in the dawn, a deeper twilight on the lawn, a print of a vermilion foot, a purple finger on the slope, a flippant fly upon the pane, a spider at his trade again, an added strut in Chanticleer, a flower expected everywhere, an axe shrill singing in the woods, fern odors on untraveled roads. All this and more I cannot tell. A furtive look you know as well. And Nicodemus' mystery revives its annual reply. Next we have the sleeping flowers. Whose are the little beds, I asked, which in the valleys lie? Some shook their heads and others smiled, and no one made reply. Perhaps they did not hear, I said. I will inquire again. Whose are the beds, the tiny beds so thick upon the plain? 'Tis Daisy in the shortest, a little farther on, nearest the door to wake the first. Little Leontodon. 'Tis Iris, sir, and Aster, Anemone and Bell, Bacchia in the blanket red, and chubby Daffodil. Meanwhile, at many cradles her busy foot she plied, humming the quaintest lullaby that ever rocked a child. Hush, Epigea wakens, the crocus stirs her lids. Rhodora's cheek is crimson, she's dreaming of the woods. Then, turning from them, reverent, their bedtime 'tis, she said, the bumblebees will wake them when April woods are red. That's a fun little poem. The Sleeping Flowers by Emily Dickinson. The next poem is called My Rose. I'm going to make one more attempt to soothe my throat here with some water. And if it doesn't work, I will probably need to end the stream soon. Alrighty, the next one is called My Rose. Pygmy seraphs gone astray, velvet people from Vevey, bells from some lost summer day, bees' exclusive coterie, Paris could not lay the fold, belted down with emerald. Venice could not show a cheek of a tint so lustrous meek, never such an ambuscade as of briar and leaf displayed. For my little damask maid, I had rather wear her grace than an earl's distinguished face. I had rather dwell like her than be Duke of Exeter. Royalty enough for me to subdue the bumblebee. That's a very pretty poem. Next up is The Oriole's Secret. To hear an oriole sing may be a common thing, or only a divine. It is not of the bird who sings the same unheard as unto crowd. The fashion of the ear addereth that it hear in dun or fair. So whether it be rune or whether it be none is of within. The tune is in the tree. The skeptic showeth me, no, sir, in thee. So that poem was called The Oriole's Secret. I think I misread that. I just said it was The Oriole. That poem was The Oriole's Secret. The next poem is just called The Oriole. One of the ones that Midas touched, who failed to touch us all, was that confiding prodigal, the blissful Oriole. So drunk he disavows it, with badinage divine, so dazzling we mistake him for an alighting mine, a pleader, a dissembler, an epicure, a thief, betimes an oratorio, an ecstasy in chief. The Jesuit of orchards, he cheats as he enchants, of an entire attar for his decamping once. The splendor of a Burma, the meteor of birds, departing like a pageant of ballads and of bards. I never thought that Jason sought for any golden fleece, but then I am a rural man with thoughts that make for peace. But if there were a Jason, tradition suffer me. Behold his lost emolument upon the apple tree. Okay. I think I can read one or two more. And then maybe I'll do some triggers to give my voice a break. And then we'll see from there. So the next one is called In Shadow. I dreaded that first robin so, but he is mastered now, and I'm accustomed to him grown. He hurts a little, though. I thought if I could only live till that first shout got by. Not all pianos in the woods had power to mangle me. I dared not meet the daffodils for fear their yellow gown would pierce me with a fashion so foreign to my own. I wished the grass would hurry, so when 'twas time to see, he'd be too tall, the tallest one could stretch to look at me. I could not bear the bees should come, I wished they'd stay away. In those dim countries where they go, what word had they for me? They're here, though, not a creature failed, no blossom stayed away. In gentle deference to me, the Queen of Calvary. Each one salutes me as he goes, and I my childish plumes lift in bereaved acknowledgment of their unthinking drums. Okay. The next one is short. So I'll read it. And then my throat is telling me to stop talking. Perhaps I should take the hint. This one is called The Hummingbird. A route of evanescence with a revolving wheel, a resonance of emerald, a rush of cochineal. And every blossom on the bush adjusts its troubled head. The mail from Tunis, probably an easy morning's ride. Alrighty. I think I will quit using my voice so much, but do some triggers for a few minutes, and then perhaps this stream is done. Hello, Cookie. You're catching me just at the end of the stream. I finished reading poetry for the day and I'm just practicing some triggers. Oh, I keep forgetting. I have this little animation. I can wave to people. Alrighty, I think I'll end there. Thank you for joining me, however briefly. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I will be back in a few days, I guess, whenever I have the house to myself again for an hour or so. See you later.